Imagine being invisible, your worth defined only by the dismissive glance of someone who believes you're nothing. Maria, a gentle-hearted maid, faced daily humiliation, her dreams mocked as foolish ambitions. But one night, something happened. Something so surprising, so profoundly powerful, that it shattered every expectation and changed everything. This is not just another story. This is a revelation of dignity reclaimed, injustice confronted, and a secret powerful enough to rewrite destiny. Trust me, you cannot afford to miss what Maria did next. But before we begin, tell us, from where in the world are you watching this incredible story? Leave your answer in the comments below. And if Maria's courage moves you, hit that like button now. Your support helps these powerful stories reach millions more, building a community that believes every voice deserves to be heard. The crystal chandelier shimmered above the sprawling banquet table, casting delicate reflections on polished silverware and fine porcelain dishes. Amidst the hushed laughter of the elegantly dressed guests, Maria, a maid with kind, tired eyes, quietly placed plates onto the table. Her worn hands trembled slightly, betraying years of silent sacrifice. "Careful, Maria. This isn't some cheap diner," sneered Vivian, her employer, her voice echoing sharply through the room. Embarrassed heat rose to Maria's cheeks as eyes turned toward her. Humiliation surged through her chest, yet she forced a weak smile and whispered, "I apologize, ma'am." Deep inside, something cracked, leaving her spirit quietly wounded yet again. Late that night, long after the guests departed, Maria retreated to her modest quarters behind the kitchen. Under dim yellow lamplight, textbooks cluttered the table as she whispered anatomical terms softly to herself. Her eyelids grew heavy, yet determination kept them open, driven by dreams that had been deferred too long. Suddenly, soft footsteps echoed down the hall, startling her awake. The door creaked open slightly, revealing Emily, Vivian's quiet teenage daughter, whose gaze met Maria's in shy curiosity. "I didn't know you studied," Emily whispered, surprised but gentle. Maria smiled faintly, embarrassment fading slightly, replaced by cautious hope. "It's never too late to chase a dream," she replied softly. The following morning, as Maria silently prepared breakfast, Emily entered the kitchen, carrying a thick biology book. "Here," Emily said warmly, placing the book beside Maria's cutting board. "It helped me get through my exams last year." Touched by this unexpected act of kindness, Maria blinked back tears. It had been years since someone noticed her beyond her duties. "You have no idea how much this means to me," Maria murmured gratefully, her voice shaking slightly. "Everyone deserves someone who believes in them," Emily replied softly, smiling gently. For a fleeting moment, Maria felt seen, validated, her heart swelling with tentative joy. But Vivian's eyes missed nothing. Watching from the shadowed hallway, she felt her temper flare at the growing connection between her daughter and the maid. Later, finding Maria cleaning alone, Vivian's voice sliced coldly. "Don't fill Emily's head with your foolish ideas. Remember your place." The harsh words echoed painfully, reigniting the familiar burn of shame deep within Maria. Vivian stepped closer, eyes narrowed, voice lowered to a cruel whisper. "You're here to serve. Don't ever forget it." Maria stood frozen, crushed by humiliation yet again. But this time, beneath the pain, a tiny spark of rebellion ignited within her, fueled by the kindness Emily had shown. Days passed, heavy with silent tension. Despite Vivian's warning, Maria and Emily's quiet bond grew stronger, nurtured by brief exchanges of encouragement. Maria's studies intensified, her determination unwavering as midnight oil burned steadily. Late one evening, Emily gently knocked on Maria's door. Opening it hesitantly, Maria saw Emily's soft expression. "I overheard my mother," Emily confessed softly. "She plans to fire you next month. She sees you as a threat." Maria's heart plummeted, fear tightening around her chest. Yet seeing Emily's sincerity, a small, defiant flame began to rise, refusing to succumb to despair again. Driven by fear and urgency, Maria's studies doubled. Sleep became a rare luxury as exhaustion carved deep shadows beneath her eyes. Each hour, each chapter completed, brought her closer to an uncertain dream. One rainy evening, a crisp envelope marked with an official university seal lay mysteriously outside her door. Her hands trembled as she tore it open, eyes scanning the page rapidly. "Congratulations, Maria Torres. You have been awarded a full scholarship to the pre-medical program." Tears blurred her vision, confusion and joy swirling together. Who could have done this? Could it truly be hers? As Maria clutched the letter, Emily appeared quietly from around the corner, watching with tender satisfaction. "Did you do this?" Maria's voice trembled with disbelief. Emily smiled faintly, shaking her head softly. "It wasn't me, but you have someone else believing in you too." Maria's mind raced, trying to comprehend this unexpected gift. In that fragile moment, a powerful quote from Eleanor Roosevelt echoed softly through Maria's thoughts. "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Resolutely, Maria wiped her tears and straightened her shoulders. This was her chance, and she would not waste it. Vivian's suspicion intensified as Maria's demeanor subtly shifted. The timid maid was gradually being replaced by a quietly confident woman, her movements steadier, eyes brighter. Noticing Maria reading quietly during her break, Vivian sneered openly. "Reading won't change what you are." Maria met her gaze calmly, no longer flinching. "Perhaps not what I was," Maria replied quietly, "but it will change who I become." Vivian stiffened, taken aback by Maria's newfound strength. As Maria returned to her work, her heart pounded fiercely, not from fear, but from the exhilarating realization of reclaiming her dignity, one small victory at a time. The day Maria had dreaded finally arrived, Vivian's lavish annual charity gala. The house glittered with opulence, yet Maria's hands trembled slightly as she carried trays filled with crystal glasses. Her heart sank when Vivian announced to guests, in a voice dripping disdain, "Don't mind our maid. Ambition has clouded her judgment lately." Humiliated, Maria felt every gaze pierce her like ice. But then, unexpectedly, Emily stepped forward, gently taking Maria's hand. "Actually," Emily announced firmly, "Maria was just accepted into a prestigious medical program. Soon she'll save lives, possibly yours." The room fell deathly silent, shock rippling visibly across faces, Vivian's most of all. Vivian, crimson-faced, laughed nervously to mask her embarrassment, dismissing Emily's revelation as a joke. But Maria saw astonishment and respect flickering in the guest's eyes. Something had irrevocably changed. Later, alone in the kitchen, Emily whispered an apology. "I'm sorry if that was uncomfortable." Maria squeezed her hand warmly, voice gentle yet resolute. "You gave me something no one else ever has. Dignity." Outside the kitchen window, stars sparkled vividly against the darkened sky, as Maria quietly vowed never again to let another person define her worth. Driven by a fierce resolve, Maria balanced her daily tasks with relentless study, her spirit growing stronger each day. Vivian's insults became mere whispers, easily brushed aside. Meanwhile, Emily's subtle support bolstered Maria's confidence. One evening, quietly preparing tea, Maria overheard Vivian coldly warning Emily, "You must end this ridiculous friendship. It's beneath you." Emily's firm response filled Maria with pride. "Compassion and kindness are never beneath anyone, Mother." Warmth filled Maria's heart. Emily wasn't just a supporter. She had become Maria's quiet defender in the shadows. Time passed swiftly until the day arrived for Maria's first major exam. Nervously entering the examination hall, surrounded by eager younger students, she felt uncertainty gnaw at her confidence. But deep within, Maria heard Emily's steady voice. "You belong here." She breathed deeply, steadied herself, and began answering each question methodically, calmness slowly replacing her anxiety. Hours later, walking out into bright sunlight, Maria knew she'd performed well. A sense of triumph flooded her heart. This wasn't just about an exam. It was proof that her life had truly begun to change. Returning home that evening, Maria felt an unusual tension thickening the air. As she stepped inside, Vivian stood rigidly near the grand staircase, eyes blazing with barely restrained anger. "Your duties are slipping," Vivian snapped coldly. "If you care more about your ridiculous ambitions than your job, perhaps you should leave." Maria felt her stomach tighten painfully. Yet her voice remained calm, steady as never before. "I've done my job faithfully, ma'am, but my dreams aren't ridiculous. They're mine." Vivian stiffened visibly, speechless at Maria's boldness, as the maid turned quietly and walked away, dignity radiating from her every step. Late into the night, Maria packed her humble belongings into a worn suitcase, tears mingling with quiet determination. A soft knock echoed from the doorway. Emily stood there, eyes wide with worry. "Where will you go?" Emily asked anxiously. Maria smiled softly, steadying her voice. "Somewhere I can breathe and chase my dreams without apology." Emily reached into her pocket, pulling out a small, carefully folded envelope. "Take this, please," she insisted quietly, pressing it into Maria's hand. "It's not charity. It's gratitude for everything you've taught me." Maria accepted, touched by the sincerity shining in Emily's eyes, knowing this small gift held immeasurable value. Months passed, carrying Maria through intense study, rigorous training, and grueling tests. Life was demanding, yet freedom and purpose fueled every waking moment. One afternoon, Maria received a formal invitation addressed elegantly from her former household, a grand celebration for Emily's university acceptance. Maria hesitated, memories resurfacing painfully. Yet gratitude for Emily's unwavering kindness stirred strongly within her. Deciding with a quiet courage, Maria accepted, determined to face her past once more, but this time as an equal, her dignity reclaimed. On the night of the event, Maria entered the grand hall, beautifully yet simply dressed, confidence illuminating her calm face. Familiar whispers spread through the crowd, eyes widening in shock and admiration. Emily spotted Maria instantly, rushing forward with joyful warmth. "You came!" she exclaimed, embracing Maria tightly. Vivian approached hesitantly, her pride visibly struggling with curiosity. "I suppose congratulations are in order," Vivian said coolly, her voice thin yet civil. Maria smiled gently, meeting her gaze with newfound strength. "Thank you, Vivian. I wouldn't be here today without your lessons, painful as they were." Stunned silence filled the air as Maria's quiet power resonated clearly. The celebration continued, filled with laughter, soft music, and glowing chandeliers. Yet beneath the elegant facade simmered subtle shifts in power. Guests discreetly approached Maria, their once dismissive gazes now filled with respect, quietly inquiring about her remarkable transformation. Each interaction mended a piece of her wounded past, stitching dignity back into her heart. Across the room, Vivian watched, bitterness etched into her features. Maria felt no malice, only quiet compassion, recognizing Vivian's anger as mere fear of change, of losing control over the narrative she dictated for so long. Late into the evening, Emily discreetly guided Maria toward a quiet balcony overlooking lush gardens bathed in moonlight. "You inspired me to choose medicine, Maria," Emily confessed gently, her eyes bright. Maria's throat tightened with emotion. She'd never imagined impacting someone so profoundly. "Always remember," Maria whispered, squeezing Emily's hand warmly. "Your strength lies not in privilege, but in kindness." Their quiet moment held deep mutual gratitude, an unspoken promise of solidarity that defied societal boundaries, powerful enough to redefine their futures entirely. Returning inside, Maria was startled when Vivian abruptly blocked her path, eyes burning with suppressed emotion. "You think you've won, don't you?" Vivian hissed, voice trembling slightly, masking vulnerability behind anger. Maria, calm and serene, shook her head softly. "It was never about winning," she replied firmly. "It was about claiming the dignity everyone deserves, even those who once treated me unkindly." Vivian faltered, genuinely unsettled by Maria's sincerity. As Maria stepped past gracefully, Vivian stood frozen, quietly realizing that true power had shifted hands, invisibly, yet irrevocably. Days later, a frantic call startled Maria awake at dawn. It was Emily, voice trembling and desperate. "Maria, it's Mother. Vivian's had a stroke." The news hit Maria like lightning, her heart aching despite everything Vivian had done. Rushing immediately to the hospital, Maria found Emily pale and frightened, eyes pleading desperately. "They're unsure she'll recover fully." Emily choked back tears. Deep within Maria, unexpected compassion surged strongly. Vivian was now vulnerable, stripped entirely of pride. Maria quietly decided she would step forward, using her medical knowledge not for revenge, but for profound healing, both physical and emotional. In the sterile whiteness of Vivian's hospital room, Maria hesitantly approached, heart pounding with unfamiliar intensity. Vivian lay silently, frail and diminished, her once commanding presence now lost in vulnerability. Gently, Maria reached out, taking Vivian's trembling hand into her own. Vivian opened her eyes slowly, shocked confusion spreading across her pale face. "Why are you here?" Vivian whispered weakly. Maria met her gaze steadily, voice calm but resolute. "Because true strength isn't found in bitterness, Vivian, it's in compassion." A single tear slid silently down Vivian's cheek, marking the beginning of a profound and unexpected reconciliation. Days stretched into weeks as Maria balanced intense studies with consistent visits to Vivian's bedside, gently encouraging her progress. Their conversations were cautious at first, but gradually deeper truths emerged. Vivian confessed quietly, "All my life I believed power meant control over others. You taught me differently." Maria listened intently, recognizing the profound emotional shift unfolding within Vivian. "Life is far too short to be defined by fear," Maria replied softly, offering a comforting smile. Their newfound connection became a bridge, spanning years of misunderstanding and hurt. One bright morning, Emily arrived at the hospital, astonished to see Vivian sitting upright, animatedly talking with Maria. Genuine warmth radiating between them. Emily paused in amazement, heart swelling with unexpected joy. "I never imagined seeing this," Emily whispered tearfully, approaching them. Vivian reached out tenderly, pulling Emily close. "I've spent my life blind, Emily," Vivian admitted humbly. "But thanks to Maria, I finally understand." Maria smiled gently, gratitude illuminating her expression. Through suffering and patience, healing had blossomed where resentment once poisoned hearts. Soon, Vivian returned home, transformed physically and emotionally, softened by humility. The grand mansion now felt warmer, gentler. One evening, Vivian summoned Maria and Emily, surprising them by declaring, "I've decided to fund scholarships for women like Maria, women whose dreams were silenced by circumstance." Emily's eyes widened in joyful disbelief. Maria's heart overflowed with quiet triumph. Vivian met Maria's gaze steadily, sincerity deepening her voice. "You showed me kindness heals more wounds than power ever could." Maria felt profound peace settle within. Her struggles had not merely redeemed her own life, but had also profoundly changed others. The evening of the scholarship ceremony arrived, a breathtaking gathering where the city's elite mixed gently with aspiring students. Under the soft glow of golden chandeliers, Maria stood gracefully at the podium, her voice strong, clear, deeply resonant. "I once believed my worth was determined by others, but true dignity comes from within. Vivian taught me humility, Emily taught me kindness, and both shaped me profoundly." Applause erupted thunderously, tears filled Emily's eyes, and Vivian smiled quietly, visibly moved. In that powerful moment, Maria reclaimed her story entirely, transforming past humiliation into profound, triumphant redemption. Later, beneath starlit skies, Emily approached Maria, eyes shimmering with pride. "You changed everything, not just for yourself, but for all of us." Emily whispered softly. Maria squeezed her hand gently, heart swelling with gratitude. Nearby, Vivian stood quietly, her previously cold gaze replaced by newfound warmth. "I misjudged you terribly," Vivian confessed humbly, her voice gentle, sincere. Maria smiled tenderly, responding with genuine grace. "Mistakes are how we learn our most important lessons." Vivian nodded slowly, deeply touched, embracing Maria softly, a powerful gesture symbolizing profound emotional reconciliation. Months passed, marked by busy classrooms, rigorous training, and dreams becoming reality. Maria excelled academically, respected and admired by peers and professors alike. Meanwhile, Vivian's scholarship initiative transformed countless lives, turning past wrongs into hopeful futures. Emily regularly visited Maria, their bond strengthening beautifully. One bright afternoon, Maria paused between hospital rounds, absorbing the quiet fulfillment that now defined her existence. Her phone vibrated softly, a simple, heartfelt message from Vivian. "Thank you for saving me from myself." Smiling warmly, Maria knew her journey had accomplished far more than she'd ever imagined. Years later, Dr. Maria Torres walked confidently through the bustling corridors of her own thriving community clinic. Patients greeted her warmly, their gratitude genuine, their respect earned. Hanging prominently near the reception was Vivian's quote, beautifully inscribed, "Kindness heals more wounds than power ever could." Pausing briefly, Maria felt immense satisfaction, but knew her work had only just begun. Stepping outside into the warm sunlight, determination surged within her heart. Looking toward the horizon, Maria wondered what new story awaited, knowing each life she touched would ripple outward indefinitely. Maria's journey has ended, but yours is just beginning. Want more inspiring stories of redemption and transformation? Click on the next video and subscribe to experience more powerful narratives that change lives.